Now I'm looking at number 50, and I would choose to show you number 50 because there's a concept having to do with the parentheses containing this negative that you're really going to need to know how to deal with. What I like to show is that this to the third power really means, if you just look at this part of the problem, it really means this multiplied times itself 3 times. And while that's going to give us y to the third power, it's important that you know the negative times a negative is going to make a positive. That positive then times the negative makes a negative. So, so just this part right here, if I were to break it apart like that, I don't really need to see this intermediate step. If I just see you move from here to there, I'll be fine with it. But I wanted to break this apart so you could really see what's happening. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and erase that and bring this over here. And now we'll look at this one, because what we saw here is the exponent is odd and it stayed negative, because a negative times a negative times a negative was a negative. Here though, we're going to see something different. This to the fourth power means negative y times negative y 4 times. And so negative times a negative is a positive. That positive times the next negative makes it negative again. That negative times the negative is a positive. So when the exponent is positive, it turns it into a positive. Excuse me. When that exponent is even, I said positive a second ago, I meant even. When the exponent is even, it gets rid of the negative, as it does here. Negative times a negative is a positive. That positive times this positive is going to stay positive. And then it'll end up being y to the fourth. So, I guess you could say that the 3 sort of affects the negative. You might want to start thinking that it actually distributes through to the negative. And I almost want to say that it's like a negative 1 sitting there. So negative 1 to the third power, you know, negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 is actually negative 1. Here it would be the 4 distributes to that negative 1, and so negative 1 4 times is going to be positive. So in other words, wait, let me finish drawing my green stuff. So y to the fourth, positive y to the fourth, and I probably, since that negative's there, I probably should group them like this, and, or maybe not. It's just important that you know that there's not addition going on like before. I'll go ahead and get rid of them, but we got to know that it's multiplication going on there, so I'm going to put times. Now here, we're going to end up with using that rule when the exponent is odd. It's going to keep it negative. So it's odd, it's going to keep the negative. So times a negative y to the fifth. So now, this term times that term times that term, we can put these negatives together. They're basically going to affect each other. Negative times a negative makes a positive. So we end up with a positive, and if it helps you, you can write positive. This times that is going to be y to the seventh, and we've already dealt with that negative. Or would it might actually help you to see it this way. I mean, it's going to turn out the same way. Negative times a positive is negative y to the seventh. There, that might actually keep it together for some of you. I mean, like I said, it turns out the same way, but I want to do it in a way that's most comfortable for you. Negative times a negative is a positive, and then y to the seventh times y to the fifth is y to the 12th. So we don't necessarily need to write a positive right there, nor do we need to write the understood one. Those are just understood things. There would be the answer. And so it's really important that we have this conversation about how the power, whether it's odd or even, affects the sign of what it turns out to be. So there's that one.